like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life?
The video sync is perfect here.
I don't like the frogs. Gay friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Oh, that's well. One of my top 5 favorite people of all time.
Why are we talking about gay frogs?
He was right.
What? Well, apparently, what is
Well, in a way, but he was.
the great YouTube has pretty much taken a video interview with Jordan Peterson that RFK Jr. had, where he talks about atrazine in there. He brings it back up. And Robert Kennedy Jr., I like him. I struggle because there's not a lot of Democrats I like, but I like him. I like him because several years ago he was the one that was coming out and saying, you know what, this vaccine, all this stuff is going to kill people. We don't know if necessarily that was correct. I'm still watching what I'm saying here because the YouTube is listening. By the way, please like and subscribe. It helps us out because our videos are being suppressed because we say things like this, and so we're just to the point where we're like, screw it. We're just going to say whatever. But like and subscribe and help us out there. But he came out and he was at the forefront before anybody else was, really. Because everybody else was still scared to death and stuff like that. He, from the get-go, was just like, this stuff's going to kill us, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, you never heard about it. You never heard him say anything about it because everybody was just like, ooh, shut him up.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they were just. And now he's like, he's going to challenge Joe Biden in the Democratic primary. And he's going to challenge him now because he's kind of like, yeah, he's got some cred.
I'll vote for him.
Because he was right. I'll vote for him, too.
Over Biden.
Siphon some votes from Biden.
I think,
Yeah.
I think if it's like an open primary where you don't have to register, I'm an independent anyway. I guess I can vote for whoever I want to.
That's right.
So I'll just go in there and vote for Robert Kennedy Jr. Tim Poole had something about it today where he was talking about a dream, to him, a dream ticket would be RFK runs and he doesn't win against Biden. But then Trump picks him up.
Oh, gosh.
And he becomes a VP.
Yeah, that would be.
Here's Tim talking about it. We get to it, Mr. Producer.
We're almost there.
He's getting it.
We are there.
Yeah, I believe at this point that kind of unity is just impossible. And I don't think anyone deep down believes it. What if we get this magical unicorn scenario? RFK runs in the primary. Biden wins. RFK says, I'm not leaving. Trump wins. And then Trump says, RFK Jr., run with me. Let's unite what we're working on together for the American people. What happens if it comes Trump, RFK Jr., single ticket?
A Trump Kennedy ticket?
That is a power.
She seems shocked.
I've seen a lot of speculation that RFK Jr. will run as a third party, which will basically have a Ross Perot effect and hemorrhage voters away from Joe Biden.
Okay. So
RFK is a.
So what she's thinking is, we talked about this earlier before we came on, was that if RFK runs,
if they're all three there.
If they're all three there, and Ross Perot, you guys are too young to remember Ross Perot.
I remember Ross Perot.
I was here. Come on.
I actually liked Ross Perot.
We weren't voting age, I don't think.
No.
But, yeah.
But the question is, if RFK runs, who does he pull?
I think.
Which party does he pull voters from?
I think he's going to pull voters from the conservative. Because
both.
I think it'll be more conservative. Because if you think about it.
Well, he's a Kennedy Democrat, though.
But conservatives like Kennedy Democrats.
True.
Kennedy was the last great Democrat president we
Right.
had. So, in my opinion, you're going to get people, especially maybe they lean right. A lot of the people that just kind of lean right but aren't all the way to the right. He's going to steal a lot of those people.
Especially when Trump and DeSantis are making such fools of themselves lately. When you don't want to support Biden by any means because you're conservative, but you look at your options on your conservative side and you're like, eh.
Yeah.
But the problem is
like
that third party's never going to win.
No,
it's never going to happen.
But that's what
it's
Ross
just going to
Perot did.
affect
It would
the
be
outcome.
good if it did.
All Ross Perot did was steal votes from the
Yeah.
conservative voters.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Or from the conservative team. I mean, that's all that happened.
I think it's how we got Bill Clinton.
He
Who,
says
by the
something.
way, if Bill Clinton ran right now, he'd be a center-right Democrat.
He would be. And he'd be a superstar right now.
Right. Because when he initially ran, he during his administration, I think they did the Defense of Marriage Act.
Mm-hmm.
That marriage is between a man and a woman. And that was under
Yeah.
the Clinton administration.
Yep.
And so, yeah, the Democrat Party, it's just how far the pendulum has swung in the Democrat Party. But I like the ticket. Now, most of the time, what always happens is I always talk about these dream tickets, and they never happen. Of course, well, I take it back. McCain, Palin, because I was not going to vote for John McCain. I hated John McCain. And Palin coming on, made me vote for that. Romney, gosh, I want to take a shower every time I think about voting for him. He was just so horrible. But
Lesser of two evils again, though.
Well, exactly.
Was he, though? I mean,
well, when he was running, he was a staunch conservative.
Yeah.
Because they'll say whatever they have to say to get elected.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
And then once they get into the seat of power where they're not going to be removed forever, they're just like, I'll just be whoever I want to be now. And I think Trump is going to find more loyalty with a Democrat than he is the Republican. Because every Republican that he's ever become friends with has absolutely stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
I say take a chance on RFK. I think Trump's already thinking about it. How strong that ticket would be.
Because once again, you're going to pull a lot of the Democrats that are not liking what Biden's doing, think he's gone too far. You're going to pull a lot of those. They lean a little bit center either way. You're going to pull a lot of those voters with RFK.
Right. Trump's not going to lose anybody by having RFK with it.
Right.
No.
I think it
He's
only
gonna
works,
gain.
though, if,
He's gonna,
like Tim Poole said, he has to lose to Biden first.
Yeah.
He has to get
He's
the
going
attention
to.
of the Biden supporters.
but he's going to. Trust me.
Well, if he runs as the third, then he would.
And I believe it was Tim. I was watching Timcast when he said, one of the panelists said the fact that everybody's concerned because RFK can't get on any of these major news networks. But Poole's like, people are concerned about that. But think about it. He was on Rogan. Rogan gets more views than MSNBC, CNN, and all these things combined.
Right.
So, if he can just stick to the independent, which is where a lot of your swing voters are going to be at. A lot of people that watch Tim Poole, they're in the middle. They don't really lean hardcore either way.
Right.
They want somebody that is just logical, makes sense. And I think a lot of people watch Tim Poole might not vote for Trump, but if RFK was there, that might make a more decisive ticket for him.
Well, he's a little bit crazy, but I think we need a little bit crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really do. And he told Rogan, RFK Jr. told Rogan, he's afraid the CIA is going to assassinate him. Not RFK, but Rogan.
Yeah.
Right.
And he got on there with Jordan Peterson, and they had a podcast, and that's been removed from YouTube, which, once again, every single week we sit down, we do this podcast, I wonder why we're on YouTube. Because everything that we believe in, everything that we do, runs totally against everything that they believe.
Isn't that truth?
But he was on there with Peterson, and he was basically saying, he was talking about atrazine again, that's what Alex Jones was talking about in that video.
Turn the freaking frogs gay.
Turn the freaking frogs gay. and Kennedy was talking about if you take healthy male frogs, you put them in atrazine, over a while they start becoming female.
Yes.
Literally.
They literally are changing, yes.
And his argument is we've got that stuff in our water now.
Mm-hmm.
And they put this stuff in our water, and all of our kids are drinking it. And that's why. And look, he's got a point.
You can't deny it that there's some sense of truth there.
When the dude was totally right about the vaccines a year before we even found all this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to listen to him now. He's got credibility.
Yeah.
And he's not an idiot.
Well, and they got that whatever the doctor's name is. It's like oh, he's full of it, blah 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 blah.
Debate me.
Yeah,
but won't. Yeah,
he's like debate him live on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, I'll give you 100,000. Tim Poole's like, I'll give you 100,000 for whatever charity you want. Then Andrew Tate comes in with 500,000 and so on and so forth. Like I said, I think the pot's up to like 1.5 mil.
It was up to several million.
Yeah, it's like okay, there's come on, dude, do it.
Man, he won't.
If
He's
you
been
really
quiet the whole
truly
time.
believe in what you say,
Right.
get on there.
Oh, he's very measured when he talks, and I think he has some kind of disorder with his vocal cords. But he's very measured when he talks, and he was sitting there, and this woman was just dominating the argument. She was supposed to be coming from the conservative side, absolutely dominating the argument. And he was just sitting there, and he was like, "Show me studies." Mm-hmm. He said, "Let's talk about the studies. Let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the science. Show me the studies." And they're really just arguing out of emotionalism, and he's more of, here's the facts, here's the science, here's what we're finding out here. And I think it's an intriguing ticket. I mean, Trump never does anything. I mean, Mike Pence, I'm trying to think back to when in 2016. I don't know if
Mike Pence didn't bring any voters.
No, but was Mike Pence out of left field, or what? No, were we kind of thinking Mike Pence?
No,
why would he pick Mike Pence?
Because he was. You had Trump, who was crazy, and you had Mike Pence, who was very down to earth, normalish kind of guy. So I think that's why they picked him, because they're like, okay, we need somebody to bring the calm, and Mike Pence is very calm. Very
Robert
cool,
Kennedy
collected.
Jr. is too.
He just, yes, he is, and he's a heck of a lot better debater than what Pence was.
Oh yeah,
Pence couldn't debate his way out of a wet paper sack.
Yeah,
and I like Mike Pence. I agreed with a lot of his views.
I don't like him now.
I don't like him now, but I agreed with a lot of his views. But watching him debate these people, it was terrible.
Yeah,
he was just not a good debater.
Well, Kennedy, I think he can, just because of his name, I think he can draw a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these old school Democrats remember the Kennedys, and we have no idea what the power the Kennedys had when they were running.
Yeah,
and so much so they killed both of them. The government killed both of them so that they would not get power.
Wait, I thought one of them was back alive again.
Who? Jeff got alive?
Yeah, that was the whole. What was that? QAnon or whatever thing was happening. They supposedly he was alive. They found him. Yeah.
Oh, that was the John F. Kennedy Jr., wasn't it?
Yeah.
They thought he was alive. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I mean, Tim Poole thinks it's interesting.
Yeah.
And we're just totally name dropping here.
Of course.
Like I said, I've watched Tim for a while now. I've really started watching his shows a lot here lately, but it's funny to see him. He's still very centered as far as politics go.
I never hear him centered. I hear him right.
He leans right. But here's the thing. We call it right because the left is so far out of control. Any normal statement sounds to the right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He seems like he's hardcore right, but he's really not.
I'm starting to see a lot of some hardcore Democrats who are getting fed up.
A lot of people are. I mean, they're like, enough. Just like Joe Rogan said, enough.
Yeah.
We're done. Like, we've had enough of this.
And so you've got these people who are good, hardworking people who just grew up when the Democrat Party represented the little man. That's what my dad was. They were for the working man. They were for the unions. They were for that, and that's what they were. And they're not even like that anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Even the union workers are waking up to it now too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
The union workers, granted, nobody can tell them who to vote for when they go in the voting booth. But they're going to put a front up there, and then all of them are going to go vote Republican. They are.
I think a lot of them did when Trump ran the first time.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that was, I think a lot of union votes went for that.
But to my Democrat friends out there, it's not that party anymore.
No, absolutely not.
It's the party of the nut jobs. And is Trump the greatest candidate that's ever existed? I don't know.
I honestly don't even see Trump as right. As far, as like a far right.
I don't think he is.
I think, or excuse me, I see him as right, but I don't see him as Republican. You know, you have Democrat, Republican. To me, just because you're right doesn't mean you're Republican anymore. You know what I mean? Because the Republicans have fallen so far. They're a bunch of cutthroat snakes.
Oh,
I mean,
was talking.
Half of them on the left now. So.
Yeah, like look at what they do. They I don't think Trump is one of those guys. I really don't.
I was online the other night with my Irish friends, and I was talking about.
You were up late if you were playing with them. My gosh.
Yeah, and I was talking about how I'm far right.
And they probably don't even get right and left over there. I mean,
it was just like, we were doing something in the game, and it was just like, well, we're all going left. I said, well, I'm going right. I always go right. And there's awkward silence there because they were all like, right over there is neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
well, they say that's what we are over here too.
I'm not a new Nazi. I'm an old Nazi. I said, but no, it was just it was weird because their idea of right or far right is the white supremacist.
Yeah, which is really what far right
is supposed to be.
It's supposed to be to a degree. Yeah.
Right, but now if you have conservative views and
You're
believe
far right.
Yeah, and you don't believe that a grown man should be at your kid's elementary school, shaking his pecker in front of his face. You're now far right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, you're sane. That's what you are.
Well, that's the thing. You've got all these news all these major news corporations coming out and calling like Tim Poole and Joe Rogan and all these guys far right. Joe Rogan is not far right. Rogan
not even
is
close.
Barely on the center.
Yeah.
Like he's very left, but it's just he's logical. And he makes sense in his arguments. So it's he's right.
Right.
He's far right.
I think what's funny is that how you remember how a long time ago it was always the left had all these conspiracy theories about all these things not happening. And you have noticed how the shift is taking place.
It's so funny how that's happened, isn't it?
And the shift now is it's all the conservatives who are like, half the stuff they tell you that happened, it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the distrust of the government has gone up.
Well, I remember when 9/11 happened, and a week after, or a couple weeks after, when they had cleaned up, and they had buses. They were busing protesters in, and there were people on the streets protesting. And I'm thinking, these left wing idiots, what's wrong with them?
Right.
Now I'm looking at them going,
Yeah.
well, maybe they were right.
How mad I would get at people who were like, well, we're just going over to Iraq for oil. Oh, well,
you're not American.
You're not American. You don't love a country.
Yeah,
It's
now I
like,
look back and go, ooh. Oh,
Dick Cheney, Halliburton, all that stuff. Now you're like, we're waking up. We are. We're literally waking up. And just saying, hey, when we talk about 9/11, Oklahoma City bombing, the moon landing, stuff like that, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay not just to sit there and take everything that your government says and just swallow it whole.
Yeah.
And say, I trust my government to always do the right thing. Well, buddy, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah.
Because the government is nefarious and they will do whatever in the government's best interest. Mm-hmm. Always. Not the American people, but that certain agency will do whatever. I think we would be shocked. I think when we get to heaven and God reveals all, and I'm able to sit there and go, did this actually happen? He'll say, no, it didn't happen.
You go ask him about all the conspiracies?
I want to know. Yeah. One day I'm going to get to heaven, and I'm going to find all. I'm excited about every aspect of heaven, but I'm probably more excited about that. Here's the questions I have.
Yeah, here's the questions I have.
Yeah, but once you get to heaven, are you going to be able to know all this stuff?
Probably not.
It might make you sad, and that's not going to be a possibility. So
because your sadness is gone. I don't know.
Oh no.
Although you might just think about it, though, you're in heaven, and everybody's like, you start asking these conspiracies, and he starts telling you what's real, and you're just like, I don't even care anymore. I mean, who cares? It's Earth, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not there anymore. I don't know.
I'll care.
He's like,
I want to know. I want to. I don't think
it'll be like those TikToks.
We could do it a whole other. What heaven's going to be like? We do this a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
I think it'll be an interesting podcast. So we'll just talk about that later on.
You'd be like,
stay tuned.
You'll be like on one of those TikToks that I know you guys haven't seen it, but they have like this dude, and he's kind of waking up, and then there's Jesus standing there, and he's like, "Welcome to heaven, my son," and he goes, "I can't be here," and Jesus is like, "Well, why? Don't you want to be in heaven?" And he goes, "There's people that believe that heavy metal music is of the devil," and Jesus looks at him and goes, "No." And the guy goes, woo, he's flying through the sky, sends him back like with a mission. That'd be Lee if he said this is conspiracy theory is true. He's like, no, send me back. I must correct this.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right, we'll end on that.